It has never been more clear. The Islanders need help on the left side of their defense. They've tried pretty much everything at this point, and nothing has worked to what Patrick Waugh is looking for. They've tried 4 different defensemen from the AHL. There is one more down there that I would like the team to give a shot at some point. I think a lot of fans agree with that. But in general, this has not worked. Patrick Waugh is not getting what he wants from this pair. He barely plays the left side of the third pair more than 11 minutes a game, and this is not enough because Matthew Schaefer and Adam Pelech are playing way too many minutes, and this is an issue that I don't think has quite hurt the Islanders too much this season, but if it continues, it is going to have consequences, and it really leaves them in a position where they are one defenseman missing 2 or 3 games away from having an absolute disaster of an end to the season, because that is really how fragile this defensive unit is. And really, there are 2 options to solve this issue, in my opinion, because it's pretty clear Matthew Darche is not going to make a trade. If there was a left-handed defenseman available and he was willing to give a 5th, 6th, or 7th round pick for that player, it would have happened already. We've seen this with Lou where he'd make that trade right away. It's pretty clear the Islanders are either going to go with the waiver wire or go with somebody in-house. And because we've pretty much seen them filter through everybody in-house already this season, we're going to talk a little bit on this episode about the waiver wire because there's a very interesting player that some fans are going to be pretty disappointed in, but I think this could be an interesting snag for the Islanders. Now, before we get into it, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. You can download Kalshi with the link in the description below and use code DIGESTNHL to get $20 when you trade your first 100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States. On their platform, you can trade yes, no on really real-life events, sports, elections, and pretty much everything. If you're in California, Texas, New York, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is live in all 50 states. For sports fans, trade on game outcomes, player performances, or playoff chances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. For example, this is a hockey channel. We love the Islanders, but this is a big week for football. Football has not been great for New York. Believe me, I know, but it's good to finally have the football playoffs, and you can trade on whether or not you think New England is going to win in the first round. Really, if you're a Jets fan, you probably don't want to see them win, so you can trade against it on Kalshi. It is a genuinely smarter way to use your sports knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. Download Kalshi with the link in the description below. Again, use code DIGESTNHL to get $20 when you trade your first 100. Thank you, Kalshi, for sponsoring this video. Now let's talk about this interesting waiver wire candidate, and I have a feeling a lot of fans are not going to be too happy about this. It is Dennis Cholowski. He was just recently put on waivers by the New Jersey Devils, and as you all probably know, Dennis Cholowski was an Islander last season, which is why I think if there is going to be a waiver claim for a third pair defenseman, it is going to be Dennis Cholowski. Now, Mathew Darche does not have history with this player, but Patrick Waugh does. And if you look at how he played last season, I know fans were not satisfied with Dennis Cholowski, but taking a quick look, in 33 games for the Islanders, he had 10 points, and he was a +1. And keep in mind, Islanders defense was not great last season. Islanders had a similar position last year where they're having so many defensive injuries, and for a while, Dennis Cholowski was actually part of the solution rather than the problem. Now, he's a player who has bounced around the NHL, was drafted in the first round, never amounted to anything. I'm not saying Dennis Cholowski is going to blossom into a full-time NHL player, but when you compare him to some of the other options the Islanders have been trying, he's a guy who has a bit more NHL experience. You know what you're going to get, and some of that is a bit inconsistent, but the Islanders have not liked a lot of the other pairs they have tried. We'll go through the players. Marshall Warren, out of the group, has been my favorite. I've been very vocal. Other than his size being 5'11", I really don't see a flaw in this player, and I think he brings some physical grit where it's unfair that that is the case. Now, at times, I think he does play a bit too much of an AHL game, where in the AHL, at this point, Marshall Warren is too good for the league, really. He jumps up on a lot of plays, he gets a lot of looks on offense. Looking at his AHL stats, he has 14 points in 20 games. He can't do that in the NHL. He's never going to be a guy who can do that in the NHL. I think he can be a good 7th defenseman, but he's never going to be a guy who can constantly jump up on the rush like a Matthew Schaefer does. That's not his game in the NHL. He has to simplify it, and that's really been the issue with Marshall Warren. I would like to see them give him more of a chance to do that, because I think he has been figuring out when he gets additional games. For 8 games for the Islanders this season, he has 3 assists, and really, also, he's a 0. He's not a plus, not a minus. I kind of think that he is the safest option. We're going to talk about some of the other players, but clearly, whatever Marshall Warren's doing is not enough for Patrick Waugh, because they've taken a look twice, and both times he has been sent down. Of all the options we've seen, I think the worst was Travis Mitchell, and I feel bad. I like him a lot. He had 1 goal in 9 games. Also, so far this pair really has not been burning the Islanders in terms of giving up a ton of goals. I think the issue has more just been they're not reliable enough to play, and they're sheltered so heavy that really the other two pairs are taking the brunt of difficult minutes. And really, the issue with the pair in addition, before we talk a little bit more about Travis Mitchell, is there was a stat the other day talked about on the broadcast that I think was very eye-opening. The Islanders goaltenders, Ilya Sorokin and David Rittich, are leading the NHL in saves in the high slot, which it's telling you the Islanders are giving way too many opportunities up in the high slot. You don't lead the NHL in saves from that area if you are not facing a ton of shots there. And this pair has been a big part of it. Just watch whoever Scott Mayfield, and I know a lot of people will just say it's Scott Mayfield's fault. And yes, Scott Mayfield has not been perfect this season, but him playing with these young rookie defensemen all season long is not helping the situation. And you need this pair. Typically your third player is a player you can throw out for 15 minutes and just really rely on them. Maybe get some penalty kill minutes. That has not been the case for the Islanders. Travis Mitchell, the biggest appeal for him was the size. I felt, though, after the first few games, teams were starting to figure out that his skating was not up to par. Interesting player. I think he definitely is serviceable if the Islanders need an extra option. Just don't think I would want to see him again over some of these other players. Marshall Warren is definitely my favorite of this list. Cole McWard is a player who is currently playing for the Islanders. The one thing against Cole McWard is he plays the right side, and this is an issue because they've currently tried to move Scott Mayfield to the right side instead to kind of give Cole McWard a more comfortable transition, and I think he's been good. I think he's been really solid on the right side for the Islanders. Scott Mayfield cannot play the right side. This pair is very awkward. Scott Mayfield, one of his weaknesses is definitely handling the puck at an NHL level, and when you're playing your offside, that gets even more challenging. If there is an injury to the right side of the defense, I'm totally comfortable with Cole McWard getting in there ahead of ahead of Adam Boqvist, who, being honest, has been absolutely abysmal this season. He is a -1. Ironically, he's the only one so far on this list who is a minus, and he's supposed to be a more regular NHL defenseman. I have not been impressed with Adam Boqvist at all this season. He's a player I really vouch for the Islanders bringing back this year, and the biggest red flag for Adam Boqvist at this point is the Islanders are dealing with the defensive injury. They're trying all these options from the AHL. They're trying Cole McWard on the right side and putting Scott Mayfield on his offside. They didn't think that was necessary to do with Adam Boqvist. They didn't even try it. They rather try that with Cole McWard and then even give Adam Boqvist a shot playing on his natural side. That says all you pretty much need to know about how much Patrick Waugh trusts this player. He has, out of all these players, played the most games because he has been in the NHL lineup all season long, playing as an extra. He's played 12 games for the Islanders. A lot of people didn't like this take last year. I thought the best games Adam Boqvist played for the Islanders last season were on forward. I think he has some offensive ability to his game, but has not been good, and it is concerning for him at this point. The last player we got to talk about is Isaiah George. Now, he has not played this season in the NHL. He's currently dealing with an injury. He just came back in the AHL. I think he is the long-term solution to this problem if the Islanders don't decide to claim Dennis Cholowski, which, keep in mind, I know he's not the attractive option, but this maneuver would be free. All you'd have to do is send down Cole McWard. If it does not work, you can just send him down and try something else. It's just a cheap option. Long-term, I think the solution is going to be Isaiah George, but at this point, considering he just dealt with 2 separate injuries, you definitely want to give him some chance to get his legs in the AHL so that when he finally does make the NHL, he can stick for a little bit. But let me know what you think about this. What do you think the Islanders should do? Do you want them to claim Dennis Cholowski on waivers? I'm not super in favor of them doing it, but I do think it is a logical choice if they're not satisfied with what they have, because he played 33 games in this system last year, and he was better in the Islanders system than he was in the Devils system.